And there's another part to this that most people don't realize until much later. When you've developed this kind of awareness and emotional depth, you don't just experience life differently, you experience time differently too. You think ahead more. You anticipate outcomes. You mentally simulate conversations, decisions, consequences. Your mind is often living slightly in the future, trying to make things safer, smoother, more predictable. And while that ability can make you incredibly perceptive, it can also quietly pull you out of the present. You might notice it in small ways. Struggling to fully relax, even when nothing is wrong. Finding it hard to switch off your thoughts at night. Feeling like you're always on standby, even in calm environments. That's not random. That's a nervous system that learned early on that staying alert was useful. But here's the shift that matters. What was once adaptive can become limiting if it never gets updated. Because the environment you're in now might not. Through choosing people who feel safe, and actually allowing yourself to believe it. That last part is harder than it sounds, because when you've been shaped by unpredictability, safety can feel unfamiliar, and unfamiliar doesn't always feel good at first. It just feels different, sometimes even boring. Sometimes you might catch yourself pulling away from something stable, not because it's wrong, but because it doesn't activate the same intensity you're used to. That's not a flaw. That's conditioning. And recognizing it is one of the most important turning points, because it gives you a choice. To stop mistaking intensity for connection. To stop equating chaos with meaning. To start noticing the quieter forms of fulfillment. The ones that don't spike your emotions, but steady them. There's also something else that comes with this level of depth. You tend to take responsibility, even when it isn't yours. You read between the lines so well that you start filling in gaps for other people. You understand their behavior, their wounds, their patterns. And because you understand it, you tolerate it. Maybe more than you should. But understanding someone doesn't obligate you to carry them. That distinction is important. Empathy without boundaries turns into self-neglect. And a lot of people who resonate with everything you've heard struggle with that exact line. They give insight, patience, space, but rarely require the same in return. So part of growth here isn't becoming less understanding. It's becoming more selective, more precise about where your energy goes, more willing to step back when something consistently costs you more than it gives. And yes, that can feel uncomfortable, because it might go against the version of yourself you've built, the one who stays, who handles, who understands. But growth often feels like breaking your own patterns before it feels like becoming something better. Another subtle shift happens in how you relate to yourself. You've spent so much time analyzing your thoughts, your reactions, your past. That self-awareness becomes almost automatic, but sometimes it turns into over-analysis. You don't just feel something, you dissect it. You don't just react. You question why you reacted, what it means, whether it's valid. And while that level of reflection can be powerful, it can also create distance from your own experience. You end up observing your life more than fully living it. So there's a balance to find there too. Between understanding yourself and allowing yourself to simply be. Not everything needs to be processed in real time. Not every emotion needs to be explained immediately. Some things can just be felt, moved through, and left without turning them into a full internal investigation. That's not avoidance. That's flexibility. And flexibility is actually a sign that your system is becoming more regulated, not less. There's also the question of identity. When you've been shaped by difficult experiences, it's easy for those experiences to become central to how you see yourself. The one who went through a lot. The one who understands. The one who holds others together. And while those identities are rooted in something real, they don't have to define your entire future. You're allowed to evolve beyond them. To be someone who still has depth, but also has lightness. Someone who can handle heaviness, but doesn't always live in it. Someone who understands pain, but isn't constantly surrounded by it. That shift can feel strange at first. Almost like you're losing part of what made you. You, but you're not losing it. You're integrating it. You're making space for more than just survival traits. And that's where life starts to feel different. Not because everything becomes easy, but because it becomes less heavy to carry. So if you take anything from all of this, let it be this: what you developed made sense. It helped you get through things that required strength, awareness, and endurance. But you don't have to operate at that level all the time anymore. You can learn to come down from it, To choose when to engage deeply and when to rest. To be perceptive without being constantly on guard. To care without overextending. And that transition doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually, in small choices. In moments where you respond differently than you used to. In times where you pause and ask, is this mine to carry? And maybe most importantly, in allowing yourself to experience something that might have been rare for a long time. Ease. Not the absence of problems, but the absence of constant internal tension. And when that starts to show up, even briefly, don't question it. Don't overanalyze it. Just let it be there. Because that's not something you have to earn anymore. That's something you're allowed to have. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on my future uploads.